Hello everybody, it's Mr. Fearless here. Changing the channel up a little bit. Recently got a microphone camera set up, so figured I would start doing some different type of videos because I wasn't having very much success. Kind of lost the motivation to do the video game stuff. So thought I was going to talk about some stuff that I have been thinking about a little bit, like stuff to do with the NFL, MLB, NBA, sports and stuff. I'm very into that. So as you can tell, state championship sweatshirt right here from my high school days. So today I want to start off by talking about the NFL. We're in the off season right now, little time before the draft. I want to talk about what I think is probably going to happen to do with the draft, and who my favorite players in the draft are. Obviously, one of the favorite players has to be Saquon Barkley. He's just an absolute beast, obviously, but I think the one downside with Saquon is that everyone's already making comparisons from him to Barry Sanders. They're kind of setting him up to fail in case he could still be a very good player, but because he's being compared to Barry Sanders, it's not a very good look for him as far as if he doesn't perform like Barry Sanders, which not many people are going to perform like Barry Sanders because it's Barry Sanders. But he could he could be another great running back, and people could still call him a bust because of the comparisons that are being made, and before he's even played a snap in the NFL, which I just don't like. And then another player that I'm kind of on the fence about would have to be Josh Allen. Um, Josh Allen, he clearly has a strong arm. He can throw the ball deep, throw it 70, 75 yards. But I've been told that, from what I've seen, he doesn't have great accuracy, and that's something that is definitely important in the NFL. Obviously, as a quarterback, because you're running a pro-style offense, you're not just throwing the ball deep every play because you're trying to run concepts in which are beating what the defense has been running. Um, and so with Josh Allen, very much real. Sorry guys, very realistic to compare him to players such as Jamarcus Russell, who coming out of college was the same thing. He was this hot quarterback. A lot of people liked him because of the arm strength, but look at where Jamarcus Russell is now. He's 400 pounds, he's overweight, and he's sitting on a couch eating potato chips all day, and he never did much with his career whatsoever. Now, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen to Josh Allen. I think he is different than all these other strong arm quarterbacks that have been failures in the NFL. I think he has the intelligence level of a quarterback, and long that arm strength is clearly a big difference. Like it's a key to his success is the arm strength. He can sling it in there, and he doesn't need a very open window. He can throw into tight windows. But as far as who would take Josh Allen, that's the part that I'm not 100% sure on, because it seems like a lot of teams don't want to take chances on him. But I strongly believe with the first pick, the Browns should take Saquon Barkley because, well, I don't strongly believe that. I strongly believe that based on the fact of how the Browns draft. With how I would draft, I would build an offensive line around my quarterback and my running back first. And with Joe Thomas retiring, I don't know who they're going to have at left tackle, but the rest of the offensive line is actually decently solid, surprisingly. And they just picked up Jarvis Landry, obviously. And if Josh Gordon can stay off the weed and the alcohol for a little bit, he might actually come back and be a decent help for the team. If Corey Coleman can learn how to catch, that would be a big success too. Their defense is pretty solid. If Jabril Peppers can progress a little bit more this offseason, he's a great safety back there. I mean, obviously they lost Jason McCourty and Danny Shelton, but Myles Garrett, I'm telling you, Myles Garrett is a beast. So if they were to take they have Myles Garrett. If they take Saquon Barkley with the number 1 pick, and then I think it's the number 4 pick or something like that they have, if they were to take Nick Chubb, can you just imagine that defense, guys? You got Nick Chubb on one side, and you got Myles Garrett on the other. I would not want to be the quarterback playing against them. That almost, if they had like defensive tackles, that almost puts them in as good a shape as the Rams defense as far as the front seven. But speaking of the Rams defense how are they going to perform this year? Could this be like the Eagles' dream team that never was? You guys all remember that one year the Eagles signed all these great draft picks, and well, nothing came out of it. I don't think that's how the Rams are going to end up. I mean, Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh are both pretty much in the primes of their careers, so I would be scared to play that line. I mean, no Robert Quinn anymore, but they still, like, their defensive ends are pretty solid. And then middle linebacker, I wouldn't want to go against that. Then you got Talib and Marcus Peters coming over, and it's going to be a tough defense to beat. You guys might be able to see it in the background back here. My clock up there is a Seahawks clock. Room is painted Seahawks colors, not back there, but over here towards my side. You guys might not be able to see that, but I'm scared as a Seahawks fan to go against that Rams team. I'm scared for Russell Wilson because we obviously don't have a defensive line. I mean, well, we don't really have a defensive line either anymore, but we don't have an offensive line. It's a bunch of turnstiles. We have Dwayne Brown, and that's about it. And Russell's been running for his life for the past, like, 2 years. But, okay, so that brings me to another topic, the Seahawks. What are they doing? The corners, everything, the defense, they're ripping it apart. So it's, I don't quite understand what they're trying to do here because they're in a half rebuild mode, which is something that I've never seen really work well for a team. As you see, no Richard Sherman, no Jeremy Lane, no Deshaun Shedd. We don't know about Cam Chancellor and Cliff Averill yet just because of their neck injuries last year. But if Cam Chancellor can come back, that would be huge. Cliff Averill too, but I mean, Frank Clark has been playing pretty well for us. Or maybe not Frank Clark, but I think it is Frank Clark. One of the defensive ends, the one that filled in for Cliff Averill. But what I would do is they seem to be rebuilding on the defensive side, which is the side of the ball that we were strongest on, obviously. Didn't have much of an offense, so I would say you might rebuild the offense instead and keep the strong defense. I mean, if you build up the offense, the defense was just so good that we might have actually had a shot at something. But I don't quite know what they're trying to do here. I mean, we still have Bobby Wagner, obviously, and Earl Thomas for right now, as long as Earl doesn't end up with the Cowboys or something. I know a lot of talk's been going on about that. So it's a bold strategy, and we'll have to see if that pays off for the Seahawks. I can't imagine that it will, because we haven't really gotten anything back in return for any of these players besides some cap room, but we haven't really signed any big-name free agents either. But we're trying to build the offense up, but we don't have an offensive line. Russell's running for his life, like, constantly. We don't have a running game. We don't have a passing game. Defense was the only reason that we were in most of our games, and we don't really have that anymore. I mean, I'm not afraid to say Bobby Wagner's one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL, but he can't do it all by himself. No Michael Bennett anymore either. He's over in Philadelphia. That's another strong defensive line over in Philadelphia. But I guess this season's going to be very interesting. This draft is probably going to be very interesting as well. I'm interested to see how Saquon Barkley and Josh Allen perform in the NFL and where they go, where they end up. If the Giants get Saquon Barkley, they may not be a big impact this year, but if they can get another quarterback and develop him over this year, when Eli leaves, if they still have Odell there, it could be a scary offense over in New York in the Meadowlands. Well, over in New Jersey actually, but you know. So this season could be very interesting. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any ideas that I didn't bring up or you'd like me to talk about, leave them in the comments, and next video I'll bring those up. We'll start talking. Just have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.